Nut Nerd Podcast, episode 299, Arugula.
Welcome to the Nut Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Mr. Nate, as always, a pleasure to see you. And we were discussing before the show how long it's been since we've spoken and even seen each other in person. It's been a long time.
Yes.
These quick little 1 hour video calls that we do are just not enough.
It is not enough. We could take hours. In the last episode we recorded, we were also talking how we both had many other things going on before and after that. So we were a little rushed and didn't get all of our usual off-air banter in that
Yes.
Everybody is probably so curious about. Mostly consists of video cable types.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. Well, let's get into some follow-up. We talked quite a while ago about Elon Musk and SpaceX and his Starlink internet service, the Starlink project, which aims to provide global broadband connectivity via constellation of satellites. And they announced that they have shipped 100,000 terminals. So these are the customer terminals. Mm-hmm. So they have 100,000 customers. And just the other week, I was talking to my brother, and he recently moved before he was out in the country. And I had talked to him in the past. It's like, oh, he runs out of his data on his cell plan because they can't get internet out there, and tethering and all this stuff to try to watch streaming TV, all of this stuff. So I was talking to him, and I go, well, the good thing about moving back in more into the city is that you'll be able to get better internet access. And he goes, actually, no. A couple months back, I had gotten Starlink. And I'm like, brother, do you know who I am? Why have you not told me this? So he was able to get the Starlink, and I believe it was, his landlord actually paid, I think he said $500 for the little tiny, kind of like a cable TV satellite dish.
Yeah.
And then I forget how much it is, $99 a month.
$100 a month for the service.
So he paid for the service. They paid the $500.
Wow.
And he said it was better than the Comcast he's getting now being back in the city. So
yeah, I looked into this, a couple months ago when I went to Colorado. We discussed getting it for my mom, but she moves back and forth, and it wasn't clear whether if you moved out of an area and then moved back in, if there would be enough room on your local cluster to get back in. You may be blocked out. So hopefully they're working out some of those. I have a friend who lives just outside of town in the country, and they don't have very good internet service at all. And so it might be something for him to consider as well.
Yeah.
I think that here probably within the next year, we're going to hear a lot about Starlink.
Yes. And I just had some PTSD, which was a pre-show topic we were talking about back a couple months ago. And I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast. I was working with one of the companies I work with. One of their employees is remote, and she's out somewhere in Central Oregon, and she got a new laptop because her old one was slow. Well, I'm setting up the new laptop remotely, and I'm, downloading Office and updates and all this stuff. And I did a speed test. I mean, her speed was like 3 megabits per second.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, a computer's not going to make it. And she works on the internet all day. She does research and everything. And I'm just like, I can't even imagine. I might mention Starlink to the owner of the company for her, just to say, the amount of productivity that is being lost with a slow internet.
Yeah.
So with so many more people working from home, and so many more people want to get out of the city and move into wherever they want, I think it's one of those times when the technology really lines up with what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
That this is going to be big, and it looks like they have 1,700 satellites. These little tiny satellites up right now, and they're hoping to have around 30,000.
Holy cow. That's crazy. And before we get off this topic that we've talked about way too long, that youth camp that I went to, their internet service was much better, and we got to looking, and they used the Starlink system there.
Oh, wow.
It's much better than it had been previously. So
it is catching on.
It is.
It's a thing. Speaking of slow speeds and fast speeds, PC World's Fastest Mobile Networks 2021 report came out.
Mm-hmm.
So for their 12th annual test, they drove more than 10,000 miles speed testing AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon 4G and 5G in cities, towns, and rural regions all over the U.S. They found a radically new landscape and a surprising winner.
Ooh, who is the winner?
Yes.
I'm so excited to find out, even though I'm looking right at the chart.
Well, we will be excited to hear that the overall winner was T-Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing a lot of that is their acquisition and integration of the Sprint network over the last year or so.
Yes, I think there are a lot of rural areas that were using Sprint's network that have been folded into T-Mobile, and so not only inside of metro areas, also in the rural areas in the country. T-Mobile seems to be a winner. And in fact, we went to the Oregon State Fair yesterday. I let you know that, and I think I sent you a picture of something I bought. It was a Slurpee, a $10 Slurpee cup. Yeah, don't fall for that one. They're not very big. But anyway, my poor purchasing choices aside, the people we went with, one guy had AT&T and wasn't getting any signal within the park itself. I think maybe their servers were at capacity or something like that. But T-Mobile seemed to be working, and so just another little chink in AT&T's armor and Verizon with T-Mobile coming along. Even though all the data was exposed and the breach happened recently on T-Mobile, and I'll probably be getting spam email and phone calls and identity theft stuff for years to come. I think technology-wise, T-Mobile's the one to get if you want a mix of inexpensive service and high-quality service. You can't do better than T-Mobile in the U.S.
Yeah, so on the chart they have here, the maximum download speed they found, T-Mobile was at 1134.4 megabits per second, which is really fast. That's better than gig speed. AT&T and was just behind that, and Verizon was the fastest they found was 2200, so 2 gig speed, which what you would need that for in a mobile, but that is crazy. The average, though, is where you really see it. T-Mobile was at 162, AT&T at 98.2, and Verizon at 93.7. So that is a good chunk ahead for the average speed that you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do upload speeds, which I don't think is important. Latency is pretty even between them, which I do realize latency on mobile networks is much higher than like your home internet for the most part. It's in the between 25 and 28 between the three of them, whereas at home, it's like 4 or 5. And if you're really trying to do gaming and that kind of stuff, having that low latency is important.
And if you look at this chart, really just objectively, all of them are pretty good. They're all very close. And T-Mobile did not win by much as far as the average.
Yes.
No matter which service you have, you should have pretty fast speeds and pretty good coverage. But again, for the price, you can't beat T-Mobile's price for the same service that you get on AT&T and Verizon.
And the last thing they had on there was the network availability, where T-Mobile comes in at 95% and AT&T and Verizon came in at 97%. So really close. And that is the one thing I always say is, hey, you should really switch to T-Mobile as long as you're in a place where you know there's T-Mobile service. I know that they don't have all the coverage, but I would be interesting to see, it's probably in the article, which I didn't read all of it, to look back over the years to see the coverage. And I'm trying to scroll through here. It's all kinds of weird stuff coming up on the article here. But
well, and you can see on the East Coast, they've got a little chart there. Philadelphia, like if you're there, you should have Verizon because speeds are fast and I'm sure the coverage is good. But if you're in Charlotte, T-Mobile. You should go there and get T-Mobile service for the fastest speeds.
Oh, and I did find if you scroll down far enough, they have the major cities. So they do have Portland on there, and they got the speed score it's actually higher. T-Mobile, it's better than the overall U.S. score. T-Mobile got a 100 and AT&T's at 81 and 78 for Verizon on their kind of weighted score that they have there. The speeds aren't quite there for the top speed, which again, I don't really care about, but overall, and it shows that in the Portland area, T-Mobile coverage is actually better than AT&T.
Yeah, and that's probably why we're so keen on it, because it just works well for where we're at. But other parts of the country, your mileage may vary for sure.
Yes, but you can't beat the price between those three with T-Mobile. I mean, I've said it before. We have 2 unlimited lines for $100 even every month, and it is much cheaper. I try to convince other people to switch over, and tell them about the $100, and they're like, for what? You get $100 and you get that? Oh, yeah, maybe we should look into that.
Ours is like $250, and we've got 8 people on the line. So,
yes,
and all of it's unlimited. I mean, it's wonderful.
Yes, and I will say this is a good time as we get to the end of August to remind people that if you are thinking about changing carriers or upgrading your phone, we should be a mere few weeks away from new iPhone announcement. They're saying probably mid-September, with them coming out possibly the next week.
Yeah.
So that might be a good time to look at switching carriers, because they will often offer incentives to do so.
Yes.
And the most confusing story for me, I saw this last week, and I turned it on my phone. The whole picture-in-picture on iOS, which has been around for nearly a full year now. If you were on the betas, many services offered it a year ago to have the picture-in-picture video. Mm-hmm. YouTube will finally roll out picture-in-picture mode to all iOS users, but currently they are doing testing for YouTube Premium customers who can go to a special web page and turn on the feature to be able to use it. And I know you've talked about you have some workarounds. It's like, it's been a year. Can you just not turn this on already?
Well, and what do they have to turn on? It's a built-in feature of iOS.
Yeah, it's
they basically just
API.
have to allow it. They don't have to really program anything. Turn on is exactly that. There's probably in the list of APIs from Apple, there's a PIP on or off, and you say yes or no. I mean, I don't get it.
I don't either. It is this weird dance.
It's because of the ads. It's the ads. In picture-in-picture mode, I don't think that they have an effective way to show the ads without stopping the video and starting a new picture-in-picture, and then it stops. You have to resume the video again. There's probably something like that, but I mean, come on.
That would make sense.
I mean, Google is a multi-billion-dollar company. Can't they blend the ads and the video into one stream and send that to the picture-in-picture? I mean, remember, allegedly, as you say, in 1969, we sent two men to the surface of the moon, 3 men total, 1 in orbit, with like a calculator's amount of processing power.
Technology.
And we can't do picture-in-picture in 2021. I don't get it.
I do not get it either. But what I usually do get is Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Well, this one's coming from out of left field. I believe, we're not much of radio listeners. Like, do you listen to the radio much?
Maybe twice a year, or if I'm somewhere where it's on.
Well, I used to listen to the radio all the time.
Yes,
all the time.
Yes.
You know, we're in an era now where people have these fancy cars, and you can sign up for Sirius Radio or I don't know why you'd ever pay money for that, but there's that. You and I are podcast people.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, let's just listen to podcasts and we can do what we want. Well, I'm here to tell the folks out there that if you don't want to pay for the Sirius FM or whatever it is, extra money, probably like $60 a month for that thing or something dumb, for this crystal clear satellite radio, and you travel a lot, but maybe you find that the radio stations fade in and out because, like, here we're kind of in a mountainous region, and you might turn a corner and it's like, oh, the FM channel left because it's all line of sight.
Yes.
Well, I'm here to tell you, and maybe you knew this, but you forgot, that your iPhone or Android device, all of them are capable of receiving streaming radio stations. And on iPhone, it could not be simpler to implement this. Just pull out your iPhone. Hopefully you're not driving and you're in a safe place. But if you hold down the Siri button on older devices, it's the home button at the bottom. On newer devices, it's the side button that will enable the Siri. But you hold it down, Siri will come on, and you say, station K103. That's one of the stations here. It's a pop station here. And a couple seconds later, she will start playing the radio station, streaming. And it all kind of goes through Apple Music, which you do not have to be a subscriber to, the iHeartRadio. It's all very, I have no idea how it's all connected, but you simply just evoke Siri. You can do it with your voice if you want to.
Yes.
You say station and then the call ID, like for example, K103. What are some other radio stations here in this area?
KSSN, Kissin, KUFO. Does that still exist? I'm so out of the...
I know. Well,
KKRZ, Z100, Morning Zoo.
Right. Let's try Z100. So I'm going to try it on my older 5. So what is this? This is an SE device. So I'm trying it on the SE. I'm going to hold down the home button and let's try it. Play station Z100. Okay, so she's thinking right now. I'm turning up the volume. One moment, she says. I hope this is not an epic fail. Come on, you can do it, Siri. You did it earlier. And here we go. Z100.
Hey, if you've crushed one candy, you've crushed them all.
It looks like we got an ad, which is one of the main reasons.
Candy Crush?
Is it? Oh, it is. It's a Candy Crush ad. So
Awesome.
Usually with those internet radio stations, they know it's coming from their website, so they will serve you an ad before they start the radio. I mean, there are a lot of people who want to work around the house. They're like, oh, I don't even have a radio. How do I even do this? You know, I want to do this. I want to work on a project and listen to the radio, but I don't even have one. Well, you can just do it on your phone. That's one way to do it. And I'm thinking for all those commuters out there, you have cell service all the way to work, but you may not have radio stations all the way to work. Oh, yeah. Like I said, depending on the topography or how far away the station is. Or let's say you are one of the millions of people who have migrated from California up to Washington or Oregon, and you want to listen to your local radio station back home. Well, you just tell your phone to do it, and you can listen to a radio station far, far away from you at crystal clear clarity. Does that make even any sense? Crystal clear clarity? So, Nate, this tip, I designed this one for you.
Yes.
I really want to get you back into listening to terrestrial radio.
Yes. And starting it off with the ad is such a good way to do that. Yes, that is why I do podcasts, because I remember I'd be driving to work, I'd be listening to a morning show, and they'd say, oh, right after the commercial, we're going to talk about this. So I'm like sitting in my car at work, maybe going to be late because I want to hear what they have to say about something, instead of podcasts where it's all on demand and I control when I listen to something, much like television and DVR and streaming TV, all of that. The found time that we have come across, that technology has brought us, is amazing. But this is a nice option to have if you do want to do some of that stuff. Let's say you had a friend back home that was going to be on the radio and you wanted to listen to it, something like that.
There's all kinds of things. And some people just want the passive listening experience.
Yes.
And they want to stay local with the news and sports and various things. And so the local radio stations do serve a purpose. Now you don't have to go out and buy a Sony radio from 1970 and put some batteries in it or whatever. You can just use your phone to do it.
Very nice. Well, let's move on to our takes of the week. The first story, it seems like it's a big story, but then I've heard a couple people talk about it and tried to understand it. Apple loosens rules for developers in major concession amid antitrust pressure. And it seems like maybe it's not a major concession. They are going to allow them to now talk about other ways that you can pay for like a subscription, let's say Netflix, that they could maybe send you an email from the
you
app
still
saying,
can't put a link in your app that says click here and go pay somewhere else. You can't do that, but they're allowing you're basically not going to get kicked out of the App Store if you tell your customers there's another way to pay. Because formerly, you just couldn't even mention that there was another way. Customers just had to find it organically. But now you can like send a newsletter or an update or maybe a push notification. That might be outside of the bounds. I'm not sure. Yeah, they're loosening the grip just a little bit, ever so slightly.
Yes, and it does look like they will also be adding many more, like how much you can charge and how subscriptions work, and a lot more flexibility with how you pay through the App Store for things or through Apple's ecosystem. But yeah, we'll see if this is enough. Obviously, they've had a lot of pressure from Epic and Fortnite and Spotify and others. The Coalition for App Fairness.
Basically, the
TCAF.
The Apple hit squad.
Yes. And they are saying that the proposal deal did not go far enough. So, yes, there's a quote here from Megan DiMuzio, but it doesn't tell me. Executive Director of the Coalition for App Fairness. Apple's sham settlement offer is nothing more than a desperate attempt to avoid the judgment of courts, regulators, and legislators worldwide. The offer does nothing to address the structural, foundational problems facing all developers, large and small, undermining innovation and competition in the app ecosystem.
Oh, boy. Oh, preach it. You are,
yes.
I can't wait till you get all those millions of dollars that you're trying to pry out of Apple's hands.
Yes. So anyways, that's kind of a big story where it's kind of played up as they're making a major move, and we'll see. I don't think the antitrust stuff's going anywhere for the big tech companies for a while, because it seems like all sides are kind of coming in to play there. Speaking of big tech, the President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden?
I think so.
He held a kind of a roundtable with a lot of the big tech CEOs talking about cybersecurity. And of course, CNBC really wants me to turn off my ad blocker.
Suffer. Mine's going right on through here. I can read the article, I guess.
Maybe it's because I've clicked on it a couple times. Let me see if I can get back to the article. Continue to cite. I'm having to do 20 clicks, which makes me not want to come back to CNBC. But they, they're really trying to, the cybersecurity, it's been ramping up this year, the breaches that we've had and everything. And so Google and Microsoft are planning to spend billions on cybersecurity. And I know Apple and many others, they're also trying to work together to see how we can make some of these huge breaches, and especially the infrastructure stuff that we've talked about several times, that we can have less of that and fix it sooner when it does happen.
I mean, this is like whack-a-mole. You catch something and fix something, and then hackers are going to be one step ahead every time. So the best you can do is architect these systems and these data structures very well at the beginning and continually put in energy to keep them safe and secure. You just can't rest. You can't just leave it there and go, well, we made something and now we're just going to let it go. You have to continually innovate and upgrade and plug holes. It's an ongoing thing, and the hackers will never rest. Never.
No. And Google is investing more than $10 billion over 5 years to strengthen cybersecurity and pledged to train 100,000 Americans in technical fields such as IT support and data analytics. Microsoft committed $20 billion over 5 years to deliver more advanced security tools, which we talk about the Windows updates every month. Can we just get that figured out? He added that Microsoft would invest $150 million to help government agencies upgrade their security systems and expand cybersecurity training. IBM's doing stuff, Amazon Web Services, TIAA, the insurance company, and JP Morgan Chase was involved with this. So.
Well, maybe with the $20 billion that Microsoft is going to sink into this, they could just not do anything, and then when people use their products and get stuff stolen, they'll just give them the money. But I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Here's the 100,000 you lost, or because $20 billion is a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it pans out, and we can only hope for the best on this stuff. Usually when Apple has a problem with one of their devices, it is all over the news, but I did not hear a lot of discussion on this. Apple launches new iPhone 12 service program for no sound issues. No
wow, that's
sound
pretty
issues.
broad.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so apparently some iPhone 12 and 12 Pro users are facing issues with their device's speakers. So they're not able to get sound. They're not able to get K103 or Z100 to come out of their speakers when they're working around the house.
Well, I guess if they have like some type of audio to text, they could read the songs.
Yes,
But maybe that would
yes.
work. Yeah, that's a bummer. I haven't really heard about this either. I do recall long ago there was something about some users saying, "Oh, I'm having this not working. Go to the Apple store." And of course they'll just swap it out with a new unit. It seems to be a little more serious if they have a program specifically designed for this issue.
Yes, Apple has determined that a very small percentage, which that is the standard line that every company uses for everything, of iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro devices may experience sound issues due to a component that might fail on the receiver module. Yeah, so if you're having that problem, Apple will take care of you, as they are known to do.
Yes, one advantage of using Apple products is they do take care of their customers.
Yes. We've mentioned before TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, I believe.
Yes. Company.
Yes.
You're correct.
Woohoo! Told clients Wednesday that it plans to raise prices on products by as much as 20% in what would be the company's steepest single increase. So that, of course, supply and demand comes into play, and they are, we've talked about the problem of how many of the semiconductors in the world come out of this one company, and they're looking at it going, hey, we're having a hard time keeping up. Everybody needs our stuff. We're going to raise our prices.
I wonder if this will compel other companies to build fabs, even though it takes such a long time to get them out there. I wonder if with the increase in price and the high demand that it makes fiscal sense for some other companies to do this. But it just takes so long to turn it around is the concern.
Yes. And it'll be interesting to see if this translates into higher prices. I'm sure it will for some products. But I know, again, I think there was a big tech presidential roundtable where they were talking, when there was the severe shortages, I believe maybe end of last year, about trying to bring some of it to the U.S. and be able to do it. And yes, hopefully that can be spread out. And I did see that Apple is one of their biggest clients, and that most of the M1 chips and the phone chips all come out of there. Yeah, we'll see how it all works out. And we need more semiconductors. Maybe we can start a little kit that we'll sell where you can start making semiconductors in your garage for extra income.
I was thinking we need to get some government grant to build our own semiconductor manufacturing plant.
Yes.
I don't know if you have to have experience or not, but if we're willing to put in the work, maybe we can get a grant to pay for the whole thing.
We're pretty good with technology. We could figure it out.
What's the big deal?
Not a big deal. And then we got one that's kind of on the security and privacy front. Researchers create master faces to bypass facial recognition. So in reading through the article, it looks like they were doing some testing on some different facial recognition systems, and that white older males seem to have a lot of similarities in their faces, and they were able to make these master keys that would work for many different people.
This is so crazy. So what you're saying is facial recognition, like on the iPhone or whatever, some corporate thing, if you put in a bunch of white old dudes' pictures, you could probably break into it.
Yes, it seems like that's the case. So
this is bizarre. I don't even know what to say about this.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it would be. I'm guessing this does not apply to Face ID, but maybe some of the lower level, facial recognition.
The early
systems
Samsung stuff where they just kind of said, "Here's a picture. Is it similar?"
Yes, and it does say the master key faces tended to be older and didn't have glasses or facial hair. So, and they've got some pictures on there where it's all, a bunch of older guys with gray hair, with, we'll say softer faces to be kind, and some wrinkles. And
I think those faces are arranged in columns. The guy on the left is the same guy, top, middle, bottom, and so it's a stack of the same guy.
Yes.
There's not 9 guys there. There are 3 guys with different looks, but they do look similar. I mean, if you put your brain inside of a computer and look at these images, there's a lot about them that are very similar.
Yes, and it does say the researchers tested their methods against 3 deep face recognition systems: DLib, FaceNet, and SphereFace. SphereFace. That was a punk band I really liked in the 90s. That I listened to on KNRK 94.7. SphereFace. So, yeah, just an interesting little, all this research going out. Again, this is from Vice, the interesting articles that I find from vice.com.
They're kind of the long-form tech site, if you want to read about technology and like a newsprint article or a magazine format. Yeah.
Yes. And our bonus odd take of the week, I don't think we talked about this one, did we? DeadStartupToys.com.
There may have been another one that was similar, but this is worth looking at again. I took a look at this earlier, and this appears to be kind of a depository of old, dead startup products that didn't make it very far. But they made it to market. They just are no longer there. And I was actually surprised that there were as few as there are.
Yeah, so they start off with Startup Toys is a tongue-in-cheek, the Theranos Mini Lab, which was the ill-fated, amazingly breakthrough medical testing device that was too good to be true. And
yeah. What?
Jibo Social Robot, the Coolest Cooler. I believe we talked about that one on the podcast.
Now back to the Jibo. This is not unlike a product that Amazon has now, where the screen kind of turns to follow you.
Yeah.
But it had a lot more personality and character than the Amazon device does.
Yes, and the Juicero, the one laptop per child. So a lot of these that we've talked about, and hopefully they'll add more to this. But just one of those fun little websites looking at over the past few years of just this technology that is going to change the world, and then just doesn't quite live up to the hopes and dreams.
Well, I hope that some of these companies or people who are wanting to start companies have learned from these. Like the Juicero, it's basically a machine that squeezes a juice packet into your cup.
Yes.
It does nothing else but squeeze a juice packet. That's all it does. And it
has to be their juice packets that are special. So it's a subscription. So it was just a gimmick to have you buy their juice.
That's so dumb. Yeah. So hopefully that, like I said, they've learned a lesson. And I was actually sad to see the one laptop per child project go away.
Yes.
This was actually something that was very useful. And did it morph into the Chromebook, or did they kind of cede to the Chromebook's dominance? They said, you know what, the Chromebook is like $50 more and it's like 1,000 times more capable.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I remember back then I was really rooting for them. I think I may have actually tried to order one, but you couldn't, unless you were an education or a nonprofit or something, you couldn't get on the list, and then they kind of died. But yeah, fun. I hope they play more, or I hope that they display more here on this website, because they're always fun to look at. And if you don't learn from history, then you're doomed to repeat it.
Yes, indeed. Well, hopefully never appearing on Dead Startup Toys, it's time for our picks of the week.
I think we've had a couple maybe in the past that have died.
Have petered out, or no longer exist.
Well, this one, we've talked about this product for my pick of the week before, and I know that you've dabbled with different televisions that have built-in Roku devices. Well, I purchased a Roku streaming stick, and of course, it was on Amazon, so the full title is Roku Streaming Stick Plus HD 4K HDR streaming device with long-range wireless and voice remote with TV controls. Well, thank you for putting TV controls on there, like volume and stuff. I really appreciate that. But yes, it is the cheapest Roku streaming stick that supports Apple's AirPlay. 90% of what we use our $150 Apple TV for, which I was excited to buy a couple months ago when it came out, the update, was we watch content, of course, but we also, hey, look at this picture I took, or here's a website I want to show you, or whatever. And we do AirPlay to the device. Well, with the Roku, which it costs, I think, $40, you can do the same thing. Yeah. And it's got all the streaming apps, Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount, everything. I really like Apple products, and I'm not sad that I purchased the updated Apple TV. And we use that on our main TV, and I will continue to use it on the main TV. But for the side TV over here, where I just wanted to watch Paramount Plus or whatever, I'm like, for $40, I can't really beat that. So if you're looking for a good device, I've vetted it, used it. I mean, the interface is really simple. Like, there's not a lot of adjustments you can make to it. It's just kind of what you see is what you get. But outside of its simplicity, it works really well.
The Roku sticks, I mean, I would highly recommend. The same as you. I love the Apple TV. I'm very used to it. I really like the new remote. It's so fast, so responsive. But the Roku devices would probably be my second choice. I actually have a couple streaming devices that have been sent to me by YouTube TV that I have not even connected yet. The Chromecast and then the TiVo, their little streaming box. But it's just like, I'm so happy with the Apple TV, so maybe someday I'll plug them in. And if you need a streaming device, let me know. I've got a few around for you.
And the Apple TV, you do get the apps from the App Store that are compatible, like games and different things. So there are some advantages there. But yeah, for just looking at streaming content, Roku is the way to go.
Yes. Well, my pick of the week this week, I'm tapping into my PDX fast foodie side for this, and it was a product that I believe I saw on Cool Tools, one of my favorite sources for impulse purchases. I purchased it for my wife for her birthday, and I have had the chance to use it. And Dave, this makes for great podcast, but I'm showing you here what I have got, and I want you to guess what this might be.
Well, it's very scary looking. It looks like some type of underwater creature that they've pulled from the deep. To me, it looks like a jar lid opener for like opening lids of jars.
Yeah. Yes. Well, this is, I hold in my hand, the Chefin Avocado 4-in-1 tool Arugula color, which why they didn't go with avocado color for the avocado. So
this is a delight to my ears. I'm trying to process all these wonderful new words I've learned.
Yes. So I don't know if you're a fan of avocados, but they can be kind of a challenge to access. And so what this has on it kind of looks like scissors, but just one side of the scissors.
Yeah. That's why I thought it was like a thing to open up jars.
Yes. It probably could be used to open jars. So on one end, you have a metal piece, a dull metal piece, which works excellent.
It's like a spatula.
Your initial cut of the avocado.
Okay.
And you're slicing at the end. And then there's these jagged edges, which are very sharp. That's for grabbing the pit and removing it from the avocado and disposing of that. And then this curved end scoops, you can adjust it to the size of your avocado and perfectly scoop your avocado out of the, not shell, the casing,
skin. The
skin, the avocado skin.
The peel if it were a banana.
Yes. So 4-in-1, it splits, deseeds, slices, and scoops avocados with ease. And I will say, this works great. I used it on an avocado, and it was the best experience I had ever had getting to my avocado. So, Dave, since we haven't gotten to do this for so long, since Amazon is not our friend anymore, what would you pay for the Chefin Avocado? It does have 4.5 stars on 308 ratings on Amazon.
Wow. I'm just going to go with a price that just popped into my head that I cannot get out. It may be too high. It may be too low. I don't know. I'm going to say $17.95 for this wonderful device.
Well, Dave, if you act now, It is only $12. Amazon Prime with free returns.
Wow, that's what a bargain. I was going to pay almost $20 for that thing.
Yes. So if you experience avocados in your life, check out the Avocado.
Man, the name.
It's precious.
What was the color again?
It's the Arugula color.
Arugula. Of course, it sounds like an old-timey car makes.
Yes, Arugula.
Yeah.
So, yes, the Avocado available on Amazon. And I'm going to see if there's even any other colors available. I do see some other tools that will not work as well.
Do they have rhubarb color or something that I could squash?
Come on, Avocado. And it doesn't even come up on my search here. It just defaults to avocado type stuff. But yeah, it's a great little product. And I'm glad that I bought it for my wife so that I can use it.
Yeah, exactly. You bought her power tools for Christmas, I bet.
Yes, we did buy her. We have a long-running joke in our marriage of buying vacuum devices for various special holidays. And Isla and I found at Barnes & Noble the world's smallest vacuum cleaner that we purchased for her birthday. And it actually works decently well, and it keeps Isla busy. She'll go around with this little, it looks like a dustbuster, but it fits in the palm of your hand. And she'll go around and fill up the little thing full of dust around our house.
Nice.
Yes, maybe that'll be a future pick of the week. Spoiler alert. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up this episode. As you might have noticed, next episode is episode 300.
I can't believe it.
It's crazy. We've done 299 of these now, and we've got something kind of special planned for our 300th. So make sure to tune in to your local radio station, your local affiliate next week for our 300th episode. And until then, get out there and tech better.
PTSD. PSTD.
PSTD. Post STD.
If you have a PSTD, you better go get that checked out.
Yes.
Fiery urination. All right.